How's it going, folks? So, whenever the gun control debate reaches a national stage, there never ceases to be a moment where you don't get gun controllers flocking to social media to regurgitate their same repeated talking points. I mean, these talking points are based in ignorance, misinformation, and deception. Never fails, though occasionally you will get a gem out of there ever so often. And this is what I'm responding to right now. I've got a screen capped here, so I'm going to go point by point. This person seems to not have a problem at all with how ignorant and dishonest his side of the aisle really is. Furthermore, I get the distinct feeling that this person actually considers his side's ignorance and dishonesty to be some sort of virtue. So we'll get started. He starts off by saying, "Hey, all you geniuses getting lost in pointless arguments over the definition of assault." Well, I mean, if it's so pointless, I mean, if these arguments are so pointless anyway, why does your side of the aisle insist on calling things you want to ban assault rifles, knowing full and well that they're not? I mean, your side of the aisle has been told time and time again that they're not. And a simple Google search proves what guys like me are saying right. That's the thing. All you would have taken was a Google search to know the AR-15 does not fit the definition of assault rifle. Um, Furthermore, I mean, it's not like people leading up gun control groups are ignorant to that either. I mean, you had Shannon Watts years ago make the same point uh, you made. Well, this is pointless to discuss what we want to call it. Well, if she honestly believed that, her group Karen's Demand Action would have stopped calling them assault rifles and just focused on saying, well, we want to ban these types of firearms. And this is why. The problem is that we both know this is a cornerstone to the gun controllers' strategy. Gun controllers rely on using misleading language and misusing terms to dupe people who don't know all that much about firearms into supporting their agenda. I mean, and you got people in the media that are more than willing to be complicit in this as well. One such example, you have CNN. Well, remember when the Sutherland Springs massacre took place? I remember reading an article from CNN on this one. They were claiming the mass murderer used an AR-15 and the person who stopped him used a rifle. Well, here's the thing. Both of them used the AR-15. Why did they say the mass murderer used an AR-15, but omitted that part that the person who stopped him also used an AR-15? Or why didn't they just call what they used both rifles? Either one would have been correct, but the fact they're using one for one and the other for another is pretty telling. And I don't chalk this up to an honest mistake. I've seen CNN way too much. Yeah, I'm not giving them that credit anymore. I'm not giving them that benefit of the doubt. They're simply making an honest mistake. So this person goes on to say, how about all of us clueless morons call the AR-15 and Armor Light Rifle 15 semi-automatic? Well, my side of the aisle doesn't have a problem when you call an AR-15 an AR-15. Yeah, it's an Armalite rifle, and it's semi-automatic. The issue my side of the aisle has is that we don't think many people on your side of the aisle actually know what the AR and AR-15 stands for, and we not quite so sure you understand what semi-automatic is. I mean, it seems like a lot of your people on your side of the aisle, anyway, have no idea of the difference between semi-automatic and full automatic, or they're trying to conflate the two as one when they're not. This person goes on to say, and this part is really telling right here, since assault rifle is a common mistake made by people who don't spend every waking hour oiling their guns, why don't we just call it a machine gun or fully automatic? Well, so you got called on your nonsense by calling it an assault rifle, and your solution is to lie again. You didn't learn from your mistake, it would seem, on that one. But the fact that just with this basic stuff, you seem to think that those of us who are pointing this out spend every waking hour of our day oiling our firearms. That's the perception you get of us. Well, maybe that is because we know a bit more about this topic than you. And maybe our opinions probably do hold more weight than your opinions because they're more informed opinions. Just point that out there. Let's put it this way. I know if I was talking to somebody about rocketry and this person started pointing out, well, you're wrong here, and they're explaining exactly why I'm wrong, or generally why I'm wrong, and going through it step by step, I start to realize this person's a rocket scientist. Well, I'm going to probably shut my mouth on this one and not argue with them, and I'm certainly probably not going to pretend like I'm in a better position than this person is to determine what the laws should and shouldn't be with rocketry. You know, just food for thought. But unfortunately, in this topic, seems like the most ignorant, misinformed, and deceitful on this seem to have the louder voice. And not only that, but these people seem to expect those of us who do know better to just sit there and accept their ignorance and dishonesty as somehow being superior to us, you know? And the fact of the matter is it's not a virtue, but, or at least, I mean, and everywhere else, I mean, generally you would defer to the person who knows more about the topic, but I digress. This person goes on to make the snarky comment, and since you can't legally own one, the government has for sure and for certain infringed upon your right to bear arms. Well, yes. I mean, I know you're being sarcastic about that and you don't really mean it, but yeah, that is the textbook definition of infringement. The 1986 ban on select fire and the NFA both are absolute infringements on our right and therefore unconstitutional. However, this just harkens back on something that I've been saying for quite some time, and I'm not the only one, that we really do need to do away with the 1986 select fire ban and the NFA. Both obviously are unconstitutional, and that in and of itself is good enough reason to get rid of the bans. You know, second reason is these laws have not done what your side of the aisle has promised they would do. That in and of itself, on its own, is good enough reason to get rid of those bans. And well, that ban the NFA restrictions. Um, your side of the aisle, despite all the infringements we've already made to the Second Amendment, is still not satisfied. Your side of the aisle, anytime you get any sort of concession whatsoever from my side of the aisle, you guys aren't happy with that. After you get that one concession, you're moving the goalpost saying, oh, well, that was never good. That's not good enough. In fact, nothing is ever good enough for your side of the aisle. So people like me, yeah, we want to go back to what the Constitution actually says, and it says shall not be infringed. This person goes on to say, you mad? I don't give AF. Well, yeah, we know you don't. But the thing is if a police officer ever were to pull you over, take you to jail, beat a confession out of you for a crime you didn't commit, you'd be mad as too. You'd be saying, but my rights. My rights. Well, yeah, technically he is violating your constitutionally protected rights. But you know what? You didn't see a problem with violating constitutionally protected rights that other people value. And furthermore, you seem to be more than willing to do it based on the word of people who don't even know what the hell they're talking about. Yeah, people on my side of the aisle are not very happy with people on your side of the aisle. This is why you don't get civil conversations a lot of the times on this topic. One, because your side of the aisle doesn't want to be civil, and then two, your side of the aisle doesn't even want to be honest, which I think honesty is required for a civil discussion. Your side of the aisle is incapable of being honest. And this person goes, and your argument that your arsenal of small arms is going to protect you from, puts in capitals, drone strikes is an exercise in intellectual dishonesty. Well, that, my friends, is an example of this person pulling something. I would even call it calling a pot calling kettle black at this one. I would be this is an example of a pot calling snow black. You know, this is how far this person has reached on this one. Well, first off, it's not intellectual dishonesty. First off, for those who think that the government's just going to be able to make drone strike after drone strike after drone strike, and this is going to be a viable strategy for, if say millions of Americans decide they've had enough. This person clearly doesn't understand how this works. See, the thing is that drone strikes, well, they get used some of the times overseas, but in contingent operations overseas, you still need boots on ground, and the boots on ground get used a lot more than drone strikes do. Well, the second thing is, if this part, if the government's willing to drone strike one family on U.S. soil, well, quite frankly, I'd still rather be armed with my arsenal of small arms than not. Because I guarantee you, it's just not going to be me on my own who has a problem with this. Either going to be more people who have a problem with this than the government has drones to strike. And oh, by the way, you know how much it would cost to fortify every military base in the U.S. as if it were like Iraq or Afghanistan, and then be able to fit not only all the soldiers that go along with this on those bases, but their families too. Do you have any idea what type of effort that would take? Yeah, so the idea that we're just going to use the U.S. military to drone strike our way to victory if enough people had a problem with the U.S. government so much so that they were willing to take up arms against the U.S. government is laughable on people who just resort to the whole, well, they just drone strike you. But nonetheless, this person, again, clearly doesn't know what they're talking about. Not only that, but I think this person considers their ignorance on the topic to be some sort of virtue. So, thank you all for watching. Y'all take her easy out there and have a great day.